Okay, so we're back at it. One thing I didn't mention in the last video, but I talked about in social media, was the fact that there are some differences between the Fiat 500 Abarth block and the block that's in the Fiat 124 Spider.
First differences are in the bottom saddle. We can see the cranks, the sensors, and the drains are in the same locations. That's no big deal. Most of your basic things are here, bolt holes, mounting holes. The biggest thing is we got 2 bolts here that aren't in this lower saddle, and we got a bolt up here on the side of the block that is not here. This is specifically for mounting in the 124. So this is where your engine mount goes to with that little tripod that sits off and engages with this cast aluminum bracket that sits here. No reason to have that on this block. Now, I mean, let's be honest. Could you use this block in this 500? Could the 124 go over to the 500? Wouldn't see why not. Could you take a 500 and put it on 124? Absolutely not. But let's flip this thing around a couple more times and see what else is different. I'm not going to flip it up on the head because on the deck because they've been surfaced. So down here, I came across nothing that was discernibly different. Everything looks the same. Everything bolts on the same. It looks like the oil panel worked from one to the other. So nothing jumped out at me. When I was looking at the backs of the engines, again, nothing really different. You got plug galleys in the same spot. There's something here that isn't here. You got a dowel. You got more or less all of the locations are about the same. The rear main seal bolts on inside the same exact area. So I no idea what that is. That's a galley for something. When we flip it over, I'll be able to show it to you guys what we got over there. So I mean, the fronts look. Here's this galley again.
Yeah, what's it?
I'm not 100% sure. It goes all the way through the block. There's a galley that passes all the way through, end for end. And this looks like it has a galley in it, but it was never, and it's plugged too. So, honestly, I don't know what that galley's for. Okay, so we got a galley that runs down the side of the block, and over here we're machined. So there is something in this block.
Oh, right there. There's another mounting hole difference on the side of these 2 blocks. The 124 is missing one.
Yeah, it is
So
missing.
the 500 has an additional hole.
Got one there. Got that there. Yeah, and then of course you've got 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you got your 2 mounting points here and here that aren't here for the motor mount.
Yeah.
So that's a motor mount. Yeah, that's a motor mount hole. So it had the motor mount hole in it up here, and you got an extra something or other there. So, and this has a big C on the side. This has an N something.
16V.
6619N?
Huh.
Yeah, it does say 16V.
I'm assuming that's 16 valve. You know, I wonder if the engine mounts are different on
the T-Jet.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
Maybe this is a T-Jet block.
If anyone knows the block out of the T-Jet really well, let us know, because maybe the difference is the 124 is getting engines from Italy instead have the same block as the T-Jets, or maybe just the European Fiats in general. If you know, you're in Europe, leave it in the comments.
I don't see anything that jumps right out and says, oh yeah, we need to use this block. It is kind of cool though that it appears that we can get away with using this 124 block inside of the 500.
Mm-hmm.
So that's somewhat of a relief. We haven't checked the cranks. We haven't checked the spacing on the back of them. Hopefully there's nothing different for flywheel spacing or something weird like that. But when we get there, we get there.
Yeah.
But now I get to go through and put it on the engine stand.
Okay, so John's figuring out what to do with these oil squirters on this block. So the Fiat 500 block had deleted oil squirters. If you're wondering what that does, if you're going to operate an engine at extremely high RPM, recovering the oil pressure is a good idea. Forged pistons also don't need that same level of thermal protection as the cast pistons that come in the engine. Those types of pistons under heat will expand under extreme heat, so the oil squirters keep them from doing that. On an engine with a good piston, like the CP pistons that are going into this engine, well, it doesn't need them because they won't expand the same way. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. So the big question being, do we delete them?
Where exactly would the oil squirters be?
So oil squirters, they drop into this hole here, and they get pressed in. They're held in with the bearing. Well, not per se held in with the bearing, but they sit in the general area of the bearing. So I will run these over and TIG the tips of these shut.
Okay, that's awesome.
So I gotta get them cleaned out. They won't TIG up very easy.
So the 500 block that I gave you, are you going to do it correctly?
Now that it's all torn apart, maybe. I may dive into that.
Okay, so one of the things I've done is because my block had to be done, I had a spare block, and that block had been gifted to me, so I thought I'd gift it to John. John has a Fiat 500 on the way, and John's Fiat 500, the goal is to create the 500. So when John's car gets here, yeah, if you want to see a multi-air engine go about as far as it can possibly go, that's John's goal with that thing.
Well,
so
let's
really,
note that we're going to go after the factory turbo record. We're going to go crazy for a factory turbo record. And then when we're done going after the factory turbo record, I'm probably going to standalone it and do a T-jet head.
that'd be cool.
And I want to try the T-jet head.
Yeah.
I think there's more material, there's more room to work with, and there's more cam selections.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, then we can truly go 8,200 to 8,500 RPM, where we start with dealing with piston and rod ratio corrections that are getting dangerously high.
Yeah.
But if we put a big enough turbo on there, we can get enough air through that T-jet head, upgraded valves, etc., we might be able to make the 500.
Some people have been doing multi-air swaps. There's people in Europe that have been putting multi-air heads onto the T-jets, and they're getting more torque that way, right?
Yeah, this isn't the 500 isn't a this is definitely not a torque issue.
No.
We're not going after any kind of torque. It's all going to be high RPM. We'll probably have a 2,500, if we're lucky, 3,000 RPM worth of usable power band. So I'm not expecting it to wake up until about 5K. If we get lucky, we can get one of these G650s.
Yeah. A 660?
Yeah, do a 660 with an 072 back half and do a big gate on it. So I'm surprised with how much volume.
Wow.
Yeah, we're getting through the oil squirters. So the oil squirters are a huge consuming factor.
Massive.
Of oil in the system. So yeah, that's a lot of oil pressure.
We're recovering a ton of oil pressure by.
Yeah, I don't have much pressure in here either. They really don't seem to have consistency between them, because some blow harder than the others. So I'll be ordering up a set and going through and building a blanking plug for this.
Okay, day 2, we're back down at the shop. So today we're going to put the engine together and start stuffing the thing into the car. So by the end of today, we should actually have a pretty good viewpoint of what the car is going to look like, meaning hopefully by tomorrow we'll be able to actually start the car up. That's kind of exciting. I've been dying to get this thing running. All right, let's go join Johnny putting the engine together. You ready to put an engine together? Let him know.
The work is no fun.
Well, I appreciate it.
What?
I appreciate it. I do. Seriously? Seriously?
You appreciate me and my skills.
I do, and I appreciate the effort. He doesn't believe me.
Somebody's putting effort into this?
Yeah, you are. John puts a lot of effort into this stuff. He knows. Oh, quit your complaining. Alright, this should be fun.
In case you're wondering, this clutch has some pressure on it. This should be something very similar to the very first clutch they did on your car.
Yeah.
In the 500.
I liked that clutch a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I told them. It says, go back, look through your history, find where you did this clutch. And they're like, yep, found it. I'm like, alright, let me know. So this clutch looks really good.
I'm sure it is.
So it's going to have some pedal to it.
That's fine. I love the clutch in my 500. That first clutch was fantastic. Okay, so the engine is in the car. Not everything's connected yet. John still has a lot of bolting up to do. There's still a collection of bolts sitting here. So the engine's in the car, but this is what's left to go on. That stuff, mostly stuff that's not going in.
Well,
this, however...
A lot of it's heat shields. A lot of it's...
Yeah, but you replace heat shields with ceramic coating instead.
Yeah.
So by going to ceramic coating instead, we don't really need those heat shields in there. From experience with the 500, that car stayed really cool with just ceramic coating. It really didn't need any heat shields or anything. One of the nice things about going to a bigger back half is you're going to cool down your engine bay immediately. Those small little turbos, they end up building up so much heat that, you know, the Fiat engine ends up heat soaking particularly quickly, especially the Fiat 500. A lot of people with Abarth 500s or 500 turbos find those engines get really, really hot quickly. Fortunately, the 124 doesn't have quite an issue, but for those that have those, it's one nice thing about going to a bigger turbo. Keeping the thermals under wrap is easier. Anyhow, yeah. I'm just gonna let John do his thing.